Welcome to At Live with Irenia. I'm very excited to bring you this episode today. I'm your host, Irenia Russell. This podcast was designed for you in mind to inspire and infuse you with the energy you need to take action in your life journey. You'll hear epic stories of people from all walks of life from around the world who are not afraid to share their life journey with you. From epic failures to epic wins, this show will give you some quick hacks and a big boost to help you find your vibes wherever you may be in your life journey. So tune into this dial, relax, and enjoy the vibes. Welcome, superstars. Thank you so much for tuning into this dial. You're listening to At Live with Irenia. I'm very excited to bring you this week's episode. I'm your host, Irenia Russell. Today, I'm in conversation with the fabulous Ginger Burr. She's an entrepreneur and an author. She is the president of Total Image Consultants. Ginger Burr has helped women from across the globe for over 33 years to create a wardrobe that they love. And she also connects women to their essence. I just really love what Ginger is doing for women. And that's why I had to have her on the show here. She is a graduate of Mount Holyoke College. And of course, I mentioned she's an author of a fantastic book, That's So You, Create a Look with Beauty, Style, and Grace. Welcome, Ginger.
Oh, thank you, Irenia. It's great to be here.
I am so excited, as I told my listeners, that you're here on this episode today, because I know that you have such a mass amount of knowledge, and given your industry experience working in the fashion world, and I'm just very excited about our chat today.
Thank you. I am too. I'm looking forward to it. We have a lot to talk about.
Yeah. So let's dive in. Let's start with your backstory. Give our listeners a sense of who you are.
Okay. I've been in business for 33 years. So I've been doing what I've been doing more than half my life. And before that, I grew up in a small town out in Western Massachusetts in the US. And I'm the oldest of four kids. And I'm your typical oldest child. My sister and brothers used to tell me I was very bossy. And I was someone who, very shy, very introverted.
Yeah.
I still consider myself an introvert, but when I was growing up, I found that there were people. I remember a specific incident when I was in college, when I had a job while I was at college so that I could make a little money, and It was on campus, and I washed dishes. And I remember there was one woman who was also a student there washing dishes, and she said to me, "Wow, you're kind of nice." And I always thought you were very stuck up. And I realized that my shyness was keeping me from being able to connect with people. So it's something that I've had to work on a lot so that I could be a little more outgoing, even though naturally I'm an introvert. And I'm also, I also spent a lot of time struggling with how to dress. And I think it's part of the reason that I ended up doing what I do, is that it just took up a lot of space in my head. I never liked how I was dressing. I would see other people who were putting themselves together in these really creative and authentic ways. And even when I tried to do what they were doing, it never felt quite right. And so when I finally was able to get involved in fashion, I realized that I had a calling, and that calling is to help empower women. And so I've been very lucky that the majority of my life, I've been able to do something that truly speaks to me, that I'm passionate about, and really help people.
That's awesome. It's always great to have a big purpose in terms of, women empowerment, and you working in the fashion industry and making women look good, which in turn, builds on how they feel about themselves, getting up in the morning, getting dressed, looking in the mirror and saying, I'm beautiful, right? So I really love that. In
Yes, yes.
in your career, you've been in your career for 33 years. And within that industry working, what sort of pivots have you made along the way?
I've actually made quite a few. The image consulting itself is a very large umbrella for a lot of different things. People who are image consultants, may help with personal shopping. They might help go through someone's wardrobe. They might help with makeup. They might sell a line of clothing. They might do hair. There's a lot of different they may work with teenagers or women or men, and I found that I in the beginning, at least, I really tried to be all things to all people, and that did not work very well. So I found that I had to look at how I was doing my business, streamline it to what I really felt the people, and in my case, it's mostly women over 40, the women I was working with, what did they really need from me?
Yeah.
And then kind of outsource the other options. Trying to be everything to everybody made me crazy. It didn't work as smoothly as I thought I would, because I felt like I was running in a million different directions. And believe me, I did not learn this the first time I tried it. First, I sold a line of clothing, and then I sold a line of jewelry. And then, then I decided maybe I would work with men. And finally I said, Ginger, come on, do the stuff that you're really passionate about and that your clients really need. And the rest of it, let somebody else do. And that, for me, I've had to pivot many times doing that, because it took a few times for me to realize that, okay, whatever I was trying wasn't working, or I didn't really like doing it, or wasn't serving my clients in the way that I needed it to. And so I find that pivoting is really important when you're in business. If you have to really pay attention to what feeds you, what feeds your clients, what brings in the income, all of those tied together will create a successful business.
Well, I really love that you were able to distill exactly, what you enjoy, what you're passionate about. You focused on that. And I really like the fact that, you recognize that outsourcing the other stuff would be better to optimize, your efficiency in your business, right? Serving your clientele. So that's fantastic.
Yes, thank you. It was a big learning curve, But it was maybe a hard lesson learned, but I learned it, and now I remember it, as you can tell. So it
Yes.
paid off.
Yes. So in your journey, I mean, you've touched so many women and impacted their life, imparting, you know, um, your essence to them, right? So in terms of mentors, how have mentors impacted your journey, and has any changed the trajectory of your life?
To be honest, I would not be in this business were it not for the very first mentor that I had. And as I mentioned, I struggled all through my teens and my 20s with how to dress myself. I tried different things. I kind of did this sort of piecemeal thing. Nothing ever seemed to work. I would maybe hit on something, but I didn't know why it worked. And finally, when I was about to turn 30, I met a woman named Navina, such a pretty name. And
Yeah.
she was doing a 3-day workshop on, she called it Fashion, Color, and Image. And I thought, that sounds fascinating. That sounds right up my alley. That's exactly what I want to learn. And I went to the workshop, and within about an hour, I was transfixed. I just realized that this woman knew all the things I wanted to know. She was gracious, she was beautiful, she was a little bit glamorous, she was kind, she was smart, she was incredibly talented, and she was a really good teacher. And so at the end of the 3 days, I basically, and believe me, as I mentioned, I'm an introvert, and I was in particular a little shy, but I went right up to her and I said, please, 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 will you mentor me? Will you help me to figure out how to do this as a business? And it was amazing. I believe in synchronicity, and everything just fell into place. She was delighted. She could see that I had an affinity for this, and I picked everything up quickly. And she was thrilled to be able to mentor me and guide me and help me to answer my questions and establish a business. I would not be in business, or it would have been a long time after that were it not for her.
That is absolutely amazing. I love that you said, you believe in synchronicity. A lot of people look at, very serendipitous meetings with individual along their life journey, which totally changes everything. You are so fortunate to have met someone who imparted that knowledge, and now you are very successful in running the business that you have today.
Yes, I feel blessed. I really do.
That's awesome. So, in terms of women out there in their 40s who are looking for some advice in the fashion industry, what advice would you have for them? So, that's fantastic, Ginger. So, for women over 40, what advice would you have for them, when they're looking at the fashion industry?
Well, that's a really, really big question. And, we're in an unusual time right now, too. For women over 40, the thing is, and obviously I'm over 40, the fashion industry has a tendency to ignore us. They really focus a lot on the very young, tall, thin women. And, a lot of times women over 40, things have shifted in their body, or they're just older and they don't want to wear what they were wearing when they were 20. And sometimes finding those, the clothing and the accessories and all of that really work for who they are now can be a little bit challenging, and they don't always have a lot of time to do it. So, one of the things that I really work with women on is what are some of the tools that you can use to streamline the process of making choices. And because it's not an exact science out there, it's really not, there aren't a lot of hard and fast rules that work for everyone. And so I work with 3 things I recommend to women. One is know who you're dressing. And I work a lot, I call it identifying your inner beauty. When you know who you are at a really deep level, it's much easier to dress yourself. And I work with my clients to get 4 inner beauty words or phrases that describe who they are, and then teach them how to use that to create a wardrobe. The second thing is color. And I'm a big proponent of knowing what colors look amazing on you, because you know what, there are a lot of colors out there, and that can really catch you up a lot when you're out there in the store, because you feel like you have to look at all of them. When you know that, no, that shade of purple doesn't work on me. Ooh, let me go over there. There's a shade of blue that's really great. You can skip that whole rack of purple and go over to the blues or whatever, but it helps to streamline the process. And the third thing is understanding what fits you. And that may have changed. It may have changed from when you were 20, 30, 40. As we get older, even I've had many clients say to me, you know what, I haven't gained an ounce, but things have shifted and my body, clothes don't fit my body the way they did before. So it's very important to understand what is good fit on you, and be able to, and be willing to alter them when you buy something, it's everything else about it is great, but it needs a little nip or tuck here or something taken up there. Very important to have your clothes fit you beautifully. It's one of the ways. They don't have to be expensive. They just have to fit you beautifully. So knowing who you are, paying attention to color, and making sure that the fit is good, and that varies for each person. Those three things will at least get you started in being able to identify clothes that will work for you. It's a much bigger topic than that, but those are three things to get somebody going.
That's fabulous. Thank you. There's a lot of great nuggets in there. I love that you said you work with the women to find 4 inner beauty phrases that describes them. What's your 4 phrases that describes you?
Okay, so mine are, one is exquisite. So anything that I put on my body, I have to feel like it's totally exquisite. It can't just be okay. It can't be, it has to make my heart sing. And exquisite also is a form of elegance. So for me, everything has to feel very elegant. I like a little bit of edgy glamour in what I'm wearing. I love classic clothes, but they have to have a tiny bit of an edge there. Not too funky, but just a tiny bit of an edge. Another one of mine is controlled fire. So being a redhead, I am, people always think redheads are fiery, and I am, but also being shy and introverted, there's a controlled, and English, there's a controlled way that I'm fiery. And of course, my hair alone just has controlled fire right there. And my fourth one is, it's true. My fourth one is kind determination. And that's where the softness, but as well as the strength comes in my wardrobe. I don't do a lot of fluffy stuff. I don't do a lot of ruffles or lace. I have clients who do, and they wear it really well. For me, that doesn't work. I need much more streamlined, just simple elegance with a little bit of strength and a little bit of edgy glamour. And when I'm buying something, if I do not pay attention to my inner beauty words, I make mistakes. There have been times, and I now pay attention to this, when I pull something off the rack and I'm shopping for myself rather than a client, if I pull it off and I say, oh, that's so fun, I put it right back, because I know that fun is not one of my inner beauty words. And I will appreciate it, but I will never put it on my body. I'll put it on and I'll take it off because I'm just not fun. It's not who I am. I know it sounds funny, but it's just fun clothes are not me. So I've learned that.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm typically a classic cut. And when I see my friends having fun clothes, I'd be like, oh my goodness, I wonder how this would look at me. And I remember going shopping and just trying a few fun things. And of course, I gravitated back to my classic style. But I do want to change things up. I'm a mom of 2, and my body has shifted, and I am in my 40s as well. So I'm due for a wardrobe makeover, especially after being home 8 weeks social distancing.
Right. Yes, you're not alone. Believe me, we all need a little perking up.
Yeah. So in terms of your superpower, what is it?
Okay, there's kind of 2. One is that I'm incredibly diplomatic. And this serves me really well when I'm working with clients, because our personal image is extremely personal. And, there are times when I see my clients in their underwear. So I have to be very gentle and diplomatic in how I share feedback and input, even though they welcome it. But I like to do it in a way that really feeds them rather than making them feel like they've been doing something wrong. So I'm incredibly diplomatic. And the other thing, and this is what has served me so well in terms of part of the reason that I got into this business and that Navina was willing to mentor me, is I just have a really good eye for beauty, harmony, and balance. So I can identify why something isn't working on somebody really quickly and easily. and share that with them so that they know, oh, okay, this outfit is unbalanced. I need to shorten that top 2 inches or take in the pants because they're too wide or whatever it might be. But those two things, being diplomatic and having an eye for beauty, harmony, and balance, those two things are part of the reason that I'm, if I can say this myself, I'm very good at what I do.
That is awesome. I love, those 3 phrases: beauty, harmony, and balance, one being in sync with themselves, which is just absolutely fabulous. That's fantastic, Ginger. So, what current projects are you working on right now that is totally firing you up?
Well, with having been sheltering in place for the past 8 weeks, I've always worked virtually because I have clients all over the world who I don't see in person, but I had always wanted to create an online class. And so I immediately jumped on this and created, because I had a lot more time, obviously.
Yeah.
So I created a class called Create Your Personal Style in 6 weeks. And clearly it's a 6-week class. And we're covering topics that I find really women really struggle with when they're putting together their wardrobe. And we're in week 5 right now. I'll run it again starting in June, but it's been fantastic. I'm having a blast. My clients who are in the class are making great progress and enjoying it and learning things that they had never learned before. And they have me right there to get feedback and input and ask questions, so they aren't feeling stuck. They can keep moving forward. And I'm having so much fun with this. It's just, I'm so, in a way, I don't really love that I don't at all love that there's a pandemic going on, but I always try to look at the silver lining, and the silver lining right now for me and for the women in this class is that I've had the time to be able to create this, which I did not have time before.
That is absolutely phenomenal. Because I can imagine for them, and in that class, there must be lots of laughter, lots of learning. And it's such a great and positive way to channel one's energy, right, with everything that's happening right now. So that's fantastic.
Yes. Thank you. It's a lot of fun. We're having a good time.
Good, good. So, right now, there's a lot of graduates who are coming out from school. There are a lot of people who've lost jobs, mid-level career professionals, because we are living in an extraordinary time. And what advice would you have for, some of the mid-level career professionals who are now job hunting, and a lot of the work that they have to do in interviews would be virtual now because, a lot of companies are not doing in-person interview. How would they prepare their personal image to really project well for that interview? What advice would you have for them?
It's interesting because last night I was talking with a friend we were supposed to get together for lunch this month, and obviously that's not happening. And so we were chatting, and she said, I had never even heard of Zoom until all of this happened. Now, I know a lot of people have, but even sometimes when people have heard of Zoom, they haven't been on Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
And now everything, interviews, business meetings, presentations, all of those things are going there. So one of the things that I did when this all started was I knew there'd be a lot of people who were feeling insecure or frustrated or nervous about having to be on video so much. And so I did a free seminar on how to look good on Zoom. And so what I would recommend is if somebody is not feeling comfortable in how they present themselves or how they're showing up online, to go to my YouTube channel and watch this. It's an hour-long presentation. I cover everything. And it will really help to give you more confidence and not feel so self-conscious. Because the last thing you want to do when you're in the middle of an interview is be worried about how you're being perceived and how you look. You want to be able to focus on what you have to say and how you can benefit the company, and focus on connection. So I would recommend that people really go and watch that seminar, and it will answer a lot of questions and make you feel much more comfortable if you don't already feel comfortable.
Well, I will absolutely drop that link to your YouTube channel for this class in the show notes.
Yes, it's a free program there. So, and there's also one, funny enough, just in case this is helpful,
Yes.
because most of us have not been able to get our hair done, and this may affect women more than men, but I also, and you'll find this on my YouTube channel, I did an interview with my hairstylist about what do you do if you need a cut or a color and you can't get one. And she gave a lot of really great ideas for how to do that. So if you feel like you really need to color your hair and you can't, or your hair is starting to look shaggy, take a look at that as well. And it'll help you again to feel a little more self-confident until you can go and get your hair done again.
That is absolutely amazing, because I know I certainly need to get my hair done. So I will be checking that out. I'll also drop that link in the show notes as well. And so we all know that, how we look and feel really changes our energy, right?
Yes, sure does.
And of course, with, music as well. When we listen to great music, it changes our mood. It puts a pep in our step. What music do you listen to that really gives you that energy that you need?
All right, so you're going to think I'm totally crazy, and you've probably never gotten this answer before. Now, given that at Mount Holyoke College, given that I was a music major, you would think I would listen to music all the time. But actually, I don't remember, other than watching The Voice on TV, I don't remember the last time I listened to music. For me, in place of music, I really like quiet. I know that's, it sounds funny, but I can't even think of a song right now that I could tell you I've been listening to, because I haven't been.
So, since you like quiet, what are some of the morning rituals that you have to set the tone for your day?
Okay, and that's the perfect next question. Is I always get up 2 to 3 hours before I have to meet a client or be active business-wise in any way, because I need to have a very relaxed morning. If I start out frenzied, my whole day will be frenzied. And so I get up 2 to 3 hours ahead of time, and I have been, for a while now, I've been doing a short meditation. I'm not someone who does like a 45-minute meditation. I do anywhere between 6 minutes and 16 minutes. I have a couple of meditations that I listen to. And that really helps to ground me a little bit. And also, I tend to be I can get stressed out pretty easily. And so it just helps to calm that part of me so that I can go about my day and not feel harried or stressed in any way. So those are two of the things, besides feeding my 6 cats. That's the other thing that's always part of my morning. But otherwise, it's staying pretty quiet for 2 to 3 hours.
All right. So Mother's Day is coming up. What advice would you have for mothers right now for them to look fabulous for Mother's Day?
Oh my goodness. It's very easy for us to take care of everybody else and forget about ourselves. And so hopefully families will rally around mothers, but since we can't go out to dinner and we can't do those kinds of things, I would say plan to do something that makes your heart really happy. I mean, hopefully your family will rally around that too. But I also recommend, give yourself a manicure, or, take a bubble bath, or, I'm going by what I would like, but, sit on the couch and read for a half an hour when normally you would have to be up running around caring for everybody else. But I think what's really important is to remember to take good care of ourselves. And self-care is something that right now well, I think always mothers in particular have a tendency to take care of everybody else and forget about themselves. So maybe put the word out to your family that this is your day. Hopefully they already know that, but just spend a little extra time being good to yourself and doing something that makes you really happy.
So I like that. So would you say putting a list together for your partner or husband and
Yes.
say, honey, this is what I would like to see my Mother's Day look like?
And for your children too. It doesn't hurt to say, maybe you'll make me my breakfast instead of me having to make you breakfast, or, whatever it might be, or let's have breakfast together. You know how these days sometimes kids are one's off watching TV and another's on their phone, and maybe having a family breakfast. I don't know, whatever, just you don't always get to do that you really would make your heart sing.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So in terms of books, do you have any recommendation of books that you've read that's really impacted your life?
Well, since I don't listen to a lot of music, yes, I do a lot of reading. And there are two that I thought of in particular for you. And one is, and you're going to laugh when you hear this one, there's a
Mhm.
book by Susan Cain called Quiet. And I know, see, I told you. And for anyone who is an introvert, we live in an extroverted world. And so this book has really impacted me incredibly. And I recommend this book for anybody who wonders how to navigate them. If you are an introvert and wonder how to navigate yourself in an extroverted world. And I also recommend it for extroverts so they can understand introverts, because they don't. And the second one, I think you'll get a kick out of this, is there's a Canadian author named Louise Penny, and she wrote a series called Inspector Gamache. And it's about this detective, high-level detective in Canada who lives in this really quaint, adorable village with these curious people, and he is always in the middle of some kind of mystery that needs to be solved. And I'm waiting for, I've already read like all 17 of the series. I'm waiting for 18 or 19 or whatever it is to come out. But if you want something that totally engrosses you, that has incredible character development, and just, it's hard to guess what's going to happen at the end, I highly recommend the series.
All right. I totally thought you were going to make some recommendations on books and fashion. But
Oh, you're so funny. It's so funny. Well, I could do that too, including my own book. But I actually, and I do read some fashion books, of course, but I love to read both self-help and the way that I relax is with fiction. So, and particularly in mysteries or historical fiction. So those are
All
so
right.
fun.
Well, that's fabulous. So we've gone through a lot. We've talked about your journey to, having your business, as well as, some of the work that you're currently doing with women to really help to make them shine and be confident and to empower us. And is there any last words of wisdom, key takeaway that you would like my listeners to have?
Yes, to kind of, in a way, distill everything down here. If you remember nothing else, I would write these things down and just post them on your bathroom mirror. And that is, be kind to yourself. Particularly as women, we have a tendency to go to the negative when we think about ourselves. And particularly now when there are times we look in the mirror and go, oh my goodness, I have, this big 2-inch stripe down the center of my head, or, I need my nails done, or I'm just feeling frumpy, or I'm living in my pajamas, or whatever it is. Be kind to yourself. Whatever is going on for you, just be kind to yourself. Secondly, really allow yourself to have, particularly when it comes to your clothing, because this is my area of expertise, allow yourself to have personal self-expression. So figure out what will really make you happy to wear and wear it. And I know that's a big goal and you may need some support along the way, but look in your closet and see what makes your heart sing when you put it on, and see what it is about that that is expressing a part of you. And the third thing is, just have fun. Fashion and personal style and personal self-expression, visual self-expression should be fun. And it should, going shopping or putting together a wardrobe or just getting dressed in the morning should not be a burden. It should be something that is easy and makes your heart happy when you do get dressed. So those are the things that I really recommend for everybody to think about every day.
And I'm going to add a bonus question. For those who are in a shoestring budget, what are the key pieces of attire you would advise for them to have in their wardrobe, which is a must-have?
Well, there aren't a lot of must-haves because everybody is different. For some people, it's, a great pair of skinny jeans and a blazer. For someone else, it might be a t-shirt and a cool pair of capris. And for someone else, it might be that I was talking with one of my clients yesterday, she says, I just want to live in dresses this summer. But the most important thing of all of that is whatever you're choosing, whether it's, pants or dresses or shorts or capris or whatever it is, really pay attention to color. Make sure that the color looks amazing on you. And I can tell you 2 colors right now that look great on pretty much everybody. One is a deep teal, a blue-green teal or green-blue teal. Mm-hmm. And the other is a deep forest green. Not always easy to find, but when you find it, it looks amazing on you. So both of those look really good. So when in doubt, buy yourself something that in one of those colors, or look in your closet and see if you have one of those colors. But really look and see what colors make you look amazing, because even if it's a basic t-shirt, having it in a spectacular color will make you feel so much better than having it in a color that feels drab and dreary and doesn't make you shine.
All right, I love it. And with that, I just want to thank you so much, Ginger, for coming on. There were so many great, golden nuggets in our discussion, in terms of, your passion and, the encounter that you had, which was, based on you having an affinity for fashion when you met your mentor and you just collided and gelled well together, and that just propelled your career. And I love that, you have those 4 inner beauty phrases of, being exquisite and having kind determination, just to name a couple. And I love that your superpower is to be incredibly diplomatic, with your clients. I really love that. We could all take a note from you. So I am sure that my listeners are really appreciative of all the knowledge that you've poured into this episode. So thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. I've had a great time.
Listeners, I hope you enjoyed our conversation. I would love to incorporate you into my show. If you're facing a challenge, if you want to give a shout out, please email me info@livewithirenia@gmail.com. All one word, info@livewithirenia@gmail.com. If it fits with the program, I will definitely incorporate it. If you're sending a shout out, I would certainly love that. If you found value in the show, please share it with a friend. It's important that we share this knowledge and spread it all across the world. After all, we are in this life journey together. Please do subscribe to this podcast so that you can know when a new episode's drop. Please head on over to iTunes, give us a review, let me know how great you think the show is, and give me some feedback on an episode that has changed the trajectory of your life or has impacted you in some small way. If you want to connect with me on social, head on over to Twitter and Instagram. My handle is @LiveWithIrenia. This podcast was produced by me in my home studio, including all brand elements. Listeners, until our next episode, walk into your day with positive vibes. My hope for you is that you find your vibe wherever you may be in your life journey. I'm your host, Irenia Roussel.